Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Let us continue bihawlillahi wa quwwatih with our tafsir of Surah Aal-Imraan, and we are on ayah number 49. قال الله تعالى: ورسولا إلى بني إسرائيل أني قد جئتكم بآية من ربكم أني أخلق لكم من الطين كهيئة الطير فأنفخ فيه فيكون طيرا بإذن الله وأبرئ الأكمه والأبرص وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله وأنبئكم بما تأكلون وما تدخرون في بيوتكم إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. He begins by saying وَرَسُولًا, Rasul meaning a messenger, and it is mansub bil-fatha because it is ma'tuf. It follows on from wajihan a few ayat back. Wajihan, we said, was a hal of Isa alayhi salam, so therefore it is mansub. So he's a messenger to Bani Israel, the children of Israel, meaning the children of Yaqub alayhi salam. The first messenger, they say, to Banu Israel was Yusuf alayhi salam, the son of Yaqub, and the last one of them was Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salatu wassalam. Anni qad ji'tukum bi ayah. So Isa alayhi salam is going to be telling them that I have come to you with an ayah. That's a sign. In this case it means miracles. What are these miracles? He goes on to explain some of them. Anni akhluqu, that I will create for you from mud, which is teen. Hay'a, meaning the form of or the image of a tayr, a bird. Then I will anfukhu, from nafakha, to blow. Then I will blow in it, fayakunu, then it will be, or it will become, a tayran, a bird that is a real life bird, bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah, meaning ultimately it is Allah who is creating the birds and so on, and giving life. And then secondly, wa ubri'u, from bari'ah, to be free. So I will make free, meaning I will make people free of illness or defect. Wa ubri'u al-akmaha. Akmah means the one who is born blind. A'ma is blind, but A'ma can also mean the one who turned blind but was not born blind. But Akmah is the one who is born blind, so it's more emphatic and a more difficult condition to treat. So he will free such people of their blindness. Wal abras, from baras, this is the whiteness in the skin. It is leprosy. So abras is the leper. So that's the third sign. And the fourth sign, wa uhyi, I will give life to al-mawta, the dead people, bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah. And also a fifth sign, wa unabbi'ukum, from naba, news, I will inform you of what you are eating and what you are storing in your buyutikum, in your houses. So he's telling people of the unseen. He says, in that there is a sign for you if you are believers. So mu'minun, from iman, that's a key word as well, which we have discussed. So in this ayah he gives 5 miracles. You can see many of those are of a medical type of nature, and this is because during his times there were medical advancements, and the prophets brought signs which were relevant to their time and place. So with Musa alayhi salam, magic was the business of the day. So he brought signs which were reminiscent to magic and overcame their magic. Isa alayhi salam brought these signs which overcame the medical advancements. And the last prophet also brought signs which overcame the poetic brilliance of the pre-Islamic Arabs. Now with regards to giving life to the dead, something has been narrated. They say that he gave life to 4 people, and even their names are mentioned. A man called Al-Adhir, and the son of a person called Al-Ajuz, and a daughter of a person called Al-Ashir, and even Sam, the son of Nuh alayhi salam. And there is a narration of this nature, but we are not sure if it is authentic or not, and we need to take care with these types of narrations. Oftentimes they do not have a proper isnad, unlike the authentic narrations we find in the 6 authentic books. So if this is true, that's all well and good. Otherwise, we are not in particular need of narrations like these. It is sufficient for us to know that Isa alayhi salam would give rise to the dead with the permission of Allah. That's it. So reflecting on this particular ayah, we may take that Isa alayhi salam is indeed a messenger and a prophet, of course. And a messenger is going to preach to people who will oppose him. And many from the Banu Israel did oppose him, of course. There were some who believed in him, but there were some also who opposed him. Note also that he was a messenger not to the whole of mankind, but to Banu Israel specifically. And every prophet and messenger was a prophet or a messenger to their particular people, except for the last prophet. He says that a distinguishing factor which he has is that he was sent to the whole of mankind and jinn kind, not just to the Arab. We take that man can create because he says, Anni akhluqu lakum, I will create for you. So man can create, but it is a limited creation. It is more like a recreation because he's using the materials he already has and he's forming them into a different image. So man can create to a limited extent. However, Allah's creation is unlimited and unrestricted. He's fashioning a bird made out of mud for them. So it's a sculpture. Now it needs to be noted that for us to do this is haram. We are not allowed to create images of living things, humans or animals. And there are major warnings against such an action, which can be found in books of hadith. And the matter is clear. We cannot take evidence from this particular event because this is a miracle being performed. And we cannot take fiqhi rulings from miracles. These matters are specific to prophets and messengers, and we leave it at that. We notice that he's blowing into the bird. This is reminiscent to the soul being blown into a dead body. That's how every human is created, when the angel blows the soul into the embryo after 120 days. But notice how he says, bi'idhnillah. Everything is done by the permission of Allah, lest people should start thinking that Isa alayhi salam inherently possesses divine qualities. And this is the mistake that the Christians, of course, have fallen into. So it is vital to use the words bi'idhnillah. So the credit goes to Allah. He is the one actually creating the matter. And we also take that healing the born blind, the leper, and giving life to the dead, all by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, is of a medical nature. And we spoke about this idea that medicine was making advancements during those times. We also take that Allah Jalla wa Ala can inform the prophets and messengers of the unseen, like Isa alayhi salam informing people of what they are eating and what they are storing in their houses. And one of the advantages of this type of unseen is that the people will then fear eating or storing anything haram in their houses, thinking, oh, Isa alayhi salam does not know. And from this we can even extrapolate and say that for anyone, during any time in any place, he is never in private. Allah Jalla wa Ala is always watching him. So you could never commit sins totally in private. That would be impossible, as Allah knows exactly what you are doing. We also notice that he mentions that this is a sign for you twice. Once at the beginning and the other one at the end of the ayah. And this is because the matter is serious, so repeating yourself in serious matters is absolutely fine. Indeed, it is sunnah. And finally, we may realize that despite all of these amazing ayat, it still would not be enough for those who have their hearts sealed. So these ayat are only really ayat for a believing folk. As for the disbelievers, those who are destined to disbelieve, then you can bring them any ayah you want, and they will just say, oh, this is just magic, or we are being enchanted, or they will bring up some other excuse. This is why he said, in this there is an ayah for you if you are believers. Ayah number 50. وَمُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيَّ مِنَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَلِأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَجِئْتُكُمْ بِآيَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونِ. So it says مصدقا, again it is mansub bil fatha, it is ma'tuf, it follows on from the word rasulan, which was also mansub bil fatha, which in turn was ma'tuf ala wajihan. So musaddiqan meaning believing or confirming lima bayna yadayya, what is before me, meaning chronologically what came before me from the at-Tawrah. So Isa alayhi salam came to confirm the Torah and to agree with it in his teachings. So he's continuing the teachings of at-Tawrah, except he's going to make certain exceptions. He says وَلِأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ, to make halal for you some of that which was haram for you. So he's going to make a naskh, an abrogation in certain parts of the Torah. Okay, so we ask, what are some of those things that were abrogated? And this is where we need more research and the tafsir. And so we find some of those things are the meat of the camel, which was made haram for Banu Israel in the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam. Also the fat of cows and sheep, also fish, and also the prohibition of not working on Yawm al-Sabt. So in other words, now they are allowed to work on Yawm al-Sabt. In Surah An-Nisa, we are told, فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ طَيِّبَاتٍ أُحِلَّتْ لَهُمْ وَبِصَدِّهِمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا. For the wrongdoing of the Yahud and for their hindering many people away from Allah's path, we made haram for them certain foods which had been lawful for them. So you see, there is an abrogation even in the Sharia of the Yahud. Certain foods which were halal were made haram for them. Allah Jalla wa Ala made their life difficult because these people were rebellious people, so it is a punishment for them. As for what are the types of food which were made haram, then we look into Surah Al-An'am, we find وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ هَادُوا حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ كُلَّ ذِي ظُفْرٍ. For the Yahud, we made haram for them every animal with undivided hoof. So these are animals with the fingers of the feet joined up. It is undivided. وَمِنَ الْبَقَرِ وَالْغَنَمِ حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ شُحُومَهُمَا. From the cows and the sheep, the fat was made haram, with some exceptions, إِلَّا مَا حَمَلَتْ ظُهُورُهُمَا, except that which adheres to their backs, أَوِ الْحَوَايَا, or their entrails, أَوْ مَخْتَلَطَ بِعَظْمٍ, or that fat which is mixed up with the bones. ذَلِكَ جَزَيْنَاهُمْ بِبَغْيِهِمْ وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقُونَ. Thus we recompense them for their rebellion, and indeed we are truthful. So you see, a few things were made haram for them as a punishment for them. But then along comes Isa alayhi salam and makes certain matters halal for them again. So he eases the load when it was previously made burdensome for them. Also note, he says, وَلِي أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ. This is the lam at-ta'lil. It's the justification. It pertains to, in the previous ayah when he says, أَنِّي قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ, I have come to you, with a sign from your Rabb. And so it would also read, I have come to you for a sign from your Rabb, and I have come to you in order to make halal for you some of that which was made haram for you previously. So this is the lam at-ta'lil, and uhilla is mansub al-fatha, because if a verb comes after the lam at-ta'lil, it is mansub, that is well known. Actually what they say is that it is meant to be li an uhilla, but the an, this harf which makes the verb mansub, is implied and not explicitly mentioned. But it would in full read wali an uhilla lakum. And again he says, I have come to you with a sign from your Rabb. Now it's not just one sign, it is signs, but he's using the jins, the collective term, a sign referring to many signs, as was mentioned in the previous ayah. Notice how he says, from your Rabb, not from me, but from your Rabb. This is important. Then he says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, have taqwa of Allah. We spoke about taqwa. وَأَطِيعُونَ, from ta'ah, obedience, and obey me. Not have taqwa of me, taqwa is for Allah, but obedience is for the messengers, because the obedience of messengers is the obedience of Allah. And also ayah 51, إن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوا هذا صراط مستقيم. Indeed, Allah is my Rabb and your Rabb, so worship Him. This is the sirat, path which is mustaqim, straight. Many of these words are key words and have preceded. So the word Allah is the key word. We have discussed this. Rabb is the key word. Ibadah. We have discussed sirat. We discussed this, that a sirat is a wide, straight path. So the word mustaqim is really emphasis. Mustaqim meaning straight. So reflecting on these two ayat, what do we take? We can take that, firstly, Isa alayhi salam came musaddiqan. And this can take two forms. Firstly, Isa alayhi salam acknowledges and affirms that the Torah is from Allah and he teaches in accordance with it. And number two, Isa alayhi salam, his arrival was in accordance with what the Torah prophesied. So in that sense, just the existence of Isa alayhi salam is a confirmation of the Torah. It's the same thing with the last prophet. His mere existence is a confirmation of the previous scriptures which foretold his coming. Not just that, but his teachings are also in accordance with the previous scriptures, except for certain parts which are abrogated. And we also take that abrogation can occur, not just between prophets, so the latter prophet abrogates certain portions of the previous Sharia, but it can also occur, as we know from other evidence, within a Sharia as well. Like our Sharia has certain matters which are abrogated. The point is, abrogation can occur, and this is in opposition to what the Yahud believe. They say abrogation can never occur. And we have spoken about this matter before, and this is the reason why they do not accept Isa alayhi salam, and they do not accept the last prophet either. They are just going to stick to their old teachings. Notice how he says, وَلِأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ, and so that I may make halal for you. Of course, it is Allah who makes halal and He makes haram. But because Isa alayhi salam is speaking on behalf of Allah, it is as if Isa alayhi salam is making it halal, because he is conveying it. Allah is not conveying what is halal or haram. So when it comes to Shar'i matters, you can say that Allah and His Messenger have made halal or have made haram. That is not a problem. But when it comes to matters which are universal, not Shar'i, then you're not allowed to make mention of the Messenger or give the Messenger any credit whatsoever, because messengers and prophets have nothing to do with universal matters which are not Shar'i related. For example, the sunrise, the sunset, and the movement of the celestial bodies and these types of affairs. Affairs more pertaining to nature, not Sharia. And notice how he also says again in this ayah, وَجِئْتُكُمْ بِآيَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. He mentioned it twice in the ayah previously, and so he's repeating it here because it is an important matter. We also find that having taqwa of Allah and obedience to the Messenger are obligatory, not optional. And this has always been the case with every nation. We find that Isa alayhi salam is a human and is not divine, as he says that Allah is my Rabb and your Rabb. Fa'budu, look at the fa as-sababiyya. So because he is the Rabb, you should worship him. So the fa is the sabab, it's the cause. And this is in absolute contradiction to the Christians who take that Isa alayhi salam is Allah, literally, and therefore is worthy of worship. And this one short ayah refutes that claim. Not just that, but it's obvious. It is in our fitrah that Isa alayhi salam is not divine, and he's not the creator of the heavens and the earth and all that which is in it, and that he's not worthy of worship. It's in our fitrah. We also take that the worship of Allah Jalla wa Ala alone and uniquely is the Siratul Mustaqim. It is the straight path. So therefore any other path is not the straight path. It is the crooked path which leads to Jahannam. هذا والله أعلم.